A new database is highlighting the 50 black women who have been killed by police in the United States over the last 5 years, and how the officers involved all avoided serious punishment. Insider tracked the 100 officers involved and found only 14 were either fired or charged after the fatal shootings. More strikingly, none were convicted. Insider says the data reflects how disproportionately victims of police violence are treated in cases involving officers of the law. Yelena Dzhanova helped put this database together, and she joins us now with more. Yelena, this is striking. Explain to our audience, before we talk about what you discovered, how did you and your team gather this information, and what stuck out to you about how these cases were handled?
Yeah, good morning, and thank you so much for having me. In terms of gathering the information, that part was really the result of a team of 5 news reporters, researchers, and fellows. We started out by parsing through local news reports to see what was already out there, and then we confirmed that information or supplemented it with conversations with the women's friends and family members, court documents, and records obtained through the Freedom of Information Act. And in the end, we managed to identify that 100 officers were involved in these shootings. Only 14 of them faced repercussions in the form of being fired or charged. And of course, as you said, none of the officers involved were convicted. To me, what stuck out the most is, well, it's always surprising when police and law enforcement entities work really hard to keep information secret, like the names of the officers in police-involved shootings and the outcomes of any internal investigations into these matters. That's one of the things that was so challenging with this project, that we had to go back and forth with some law enforcement agencies to really get and verify that information.
There were a lot of really interesting things in the Insider article. I think that for me personally, after the popularity, for lack of a better phrase, of the hashtag Say Her Name, there were so many names on that list of 100 I had never heard of before. And some of the situations were, they were the kind of, you would think it would be the kind of stories that would have been elevated to the national level, and they never were. I'm wondering, when you looked at these 100 cases and saw that no officers were convicted and really only a handful ever faced criminal charges, were there themes or common denominators or factors that you saw pop up over and over again that would lead to this, so few officers being charged and none being convicted?
I don't know if there are factors or common denominators there, but it is very rare that officers get convicted. Research shows that just about a handful of police officers have ever been convicted of murder in just the past 15 years alone. Other officers who've been convicted have been charged with manslaughter or misconduct of some sort, and the last officer who was convicted of murder was Derek Chauvin, the man who knelt on George Floyd's neck in Minneapolis just over a year ago. So the strong response to that conviction came partially because of how rare it is for officers to be convicted in a court of law.
So, most notably among the victims' names, of course, is Breonna Taylor. We now know her name. Emery pointed out the hashtag and how people's discovery of what happened to Breonna Taylor led to a national conversation surrounding police brutality and the brunt of violence that black women face on an almost consistent basis over the course of many, many, many years. And it's sad, and we've been having these conversations for some time now, especially in the wake of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor's killings, that people are starting to recognize what has existed for people of color in this country for many years. Although George Floyd and Breonna Taylor become the face of what we're talking about right now, and specifically when it comes to black women, Breonna Taylor, as you discovered, it's happened for so long that in many instances people are barely aware of what is actually happening. So talk to me about this conversation now that is flowering around police brutality, specifically as it relates to black women.
The national conversation has, for years, really revolved around the fact that black women's deaths are not as publicized as the deaths of other groups of people, like black men. And that's the reason that we did this project. Research consistently shows that black women are among the most invisible groups of people in the country. And as a result, the Say Her Name campaign has become a force, an integral part of the Black Lives Matter movement. It's mobilized grassroots organizations nationwide to acknowledge the lives of black women, girls, and femmes everywhere who died because of police violence.
So then, where do we take this next? Clearly Say Her Name is more than just a hashtag movement. That's what you just talked about. But sort of what's the next chapter in this?
Well, the Say Her Name campaign is a major component of Black Lives Matter, and I think it will continue to be a major component. This project identified 50 Black women who have been killed by police since 2015, and we came to that number by counting the number of women killed by police whom police or media reports identified as Black. But of course, there were many reports that didn't identify women by race, so the overall number of Black women killed by police can be and likely is much higher. So this is a very ripe topic that I imagine will continue to crop up within the realms of activism and academia for years to come.
It's such an important conversation, and I'm grateful that you and your team were able to undertake this mission. And I do worry, I think, Emery, I guess we're trying to understand is, like, when we say, where does it go from here? You don't want it to be, a situation where people are just comfortable. They hear a news report and they think, oh, that's tragic and that's terrible, and then they move on with their lives. Part of the conversation that we're having today in 2021 is it's not just enough to say that you're not a racist person, right? You have to be anti-racist, and what that means is actually actively doing something to change, even if it's just a little corner of your universe, the way that things are. And have you, I don't know if this is a part of the mission of you and your colleagues at Insider, but have you seen that happening at all?
I've seen it happen on the ground with activists, and they are working to change the conversation. But more than that, they are working to change the mentality of the people who are living in the United States, because the United States is, for part of the bedrock of the United States is racism, a culture of racism and sexism. And when that's combined, that results in the oppression of Black women. So there are efforts to change this. There are efforts to change the mentality. It starts with school, with education, with conversations with friends and family, but it's a larger collective effort that does require more cooperation and coordination with everybody in the United States, not just activists and scholars who are having these conversations.
Yeah, and part of that conversation.
So, Yelena, I think that's part of the reason it's so important to get the numbers right. You said that these numbers are probably way lower than the accurate numbers. And when I read the Insider piece, it just reminded me of the same challenge that Native communities are facing when it comes to missing Native women. That if these women don't even count, then how can you solve the problem? So at least count them, say their name, and then you can see how great or vast the problem is and work towards correcting it. So I think the Insider article is a huge step in the right direction doing that.
Yeah, I think that, well, with this project, we're hoping that it does create some kind of positive change, and that it does at least generate some conversation about Black women and the outcomes of the police-involved shootings.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much. Important and crucial reporting. We appreciate it.
Thank you.